In the wake of the Kobe news on Sunday, the NBA had to press on and continue their schedule. And it was a game between two struggling teams that ultimately paid tribute to one of the greats by exemplifying the kind of toughness and never-say-die attitude that was the Mamba's trademark. And it was fitting that Buddy Hield had the inverse of Kobe's number, allowing the Kings to overcome one of the largest deficits so late in the game that the NBA had ever seen. Since 1996-97, teams that had at least a 17-point lead going into the final 3 minutes of a game were a mind-boggling 8,378-0. And the way the Wolves had been shooting from three, there was absolutely, positively no reason to think this wouldn't be number 8379. The Timberwolves built a 20-point lead by raining down 18 threes and shooting 50% from back there. When karl-Anthony Towns screens for Shabazz Napier, you had best be ready for him to pop out behind the line for the shot, since he's an elite shooter from back there. Dwayne Dedmon stutter steps his way over, doesn't challenge much, and the seal has been broken. Dedmon really didn't get the memo, as he tries to go underneath Napier, who simply flips it back to Cat for a wide-open left-wing jumper. On the pitch ahead to Andrew Wiggins, both Napier and Towns set him ball screens. Harrison Barnes decides to go under on the subpar shooting Wiggins, but this was going to prove to be his night from downtown. We get some pistol action as Wiggins centers the ball before setting the pin down for Napier, who then gets the handoff attacking the middle. Watch Corey Joseph. It's his job to bump down on the cutter if needed, but then get right back to Wiggins lifting out of the corner. He takes at least a second too long to anticipate this, and Wiggins is wide open for this one. Here's a set I really like, as it starts like a double pin down for Wiggins. However, he curls around the first screen, triggering Josh Okogie to come around the second pin down set by Jang. Now, let's examine what the defense did here. Kent Bazemore locks and chases, but Buddy Hield wants to switch and pick up Wiggins himself. Somehow, this isn't communicated, so two players are now guarding Wiggins. That leaves Harry Giles having to guard two players on the right wing. Terrible closeout allows middle, and Buddy just happens to be there after figuring out the switching fiasco from earlier. Again, no communication, Giles is wandering, and Gorgui Dieng is shooting an impressive 38% from behind the line, and that's on almost 3 attempts in just 17 minutes per game. Same play, but defended radically different as the Kings are in a zone. Bazemore is out of position and is lucky they didn't hit Okogie open for a lefty layup. That drags Anthony Tolliver all the way across to the left corner. Bazemore bumps him out of there, and Harry Giles, who was the center, needs to read this and realize he's now the forward on the right block. Instead, Tolliver is left to get all the way back there, and while he's in the vicinity, Robert Covington gets a good look. Back to facing man-to-man defense, the Wolves spread the floor 5 out and get penetration along the lane line. Joseph correctly rotates over since he's the lowest defender, and Barnes should be more evenly between the corner and the wing. This is supposed to be an X out, as Barnes closes to the first pass and Joseph closes out behind him. It's almost done right, but Jordan McLaughlin was pretty open when he catches this ball. One way to combat the X out on the weak side is to send a cutter through. Joseph has to deal with him, making Bazemore the guy to close out on the skip pass. Not sure why he hesitates so much, and then does it again before challenging as Shabazz Napier gets into the act. And you knew this night was special for the Timberwolves when they can't get anything going in their set offense, so as the shot clock begins to wind down to 0, Wiggins has no choice but to put the ball on the floor and make something happen. Throw in the and one, and the lead stretched to 24 points. When Wiggins hits his 7th three-pointer of the game with 2:51 left in the fourth, it gave Minnesota a 17-point lead. Remember, we hadn't seen a team lose a lead this big this late in at least 8,300-plus games. With 41 seconds left, down by 9, this game is over. There's no way a team is coming back from this, right? Right? While watching this game, at this point, I turned down the volume, grabbed my smartphone, and fired up Audible. My New Year's resolution was to expand my mind beyond the lines of the court, and Audible is there to help me get physically fit, financially fit, or just be entertained. That's why I'm listening to my man Shea Serrano's book, Basketball and Other Things, a hilarious take that starts off on the game we all love, but can diverge pretty quickly and hilariously. We all know how the modern game is all about the 3-ball. Well, Audible is challenging you to read 3 books by March 3rd, and they'll give you a $20 Amazon credit. Start listening with a 30-day Audible trial, choose 1 audiobook and 2 Audible originals absolutely free. Visit audible.com/bball or text bball to 500-500. Once you're done with Shay's book, listen to Roland Lazenby's excellent book on Kobe and cheer yourself up. I think the Timberwolves could have went to audible.com/bball or texted bball to 500-500, so they could have gotten their 30-day Audible trial, listened to Phil Jackson's 11 rings, and maybe they wouldn't have lost this game. De'Aaron Fox starts it off with a spin move on a broken play and check the nifty right-left off-foot Euro finish soft off the glass. Knowing what we know now, any of these miscues by the Wolves doesn't happen, and I'm not making this video. When Okogie tries an MJ reverse and fails, it leaves him on the ground, and now it's a 5-on-4. Napier has 2 players to guard, and we get a Buddy sighting who matches Wiggins with his 7th triple of the game and 33rd point. Another key to coming back is to get points while the clock is stopped, and Okogie is just too slow trying to guard Fox by using defensive slides, and it lets the Kings cut the lead to 12. Who knew we were all waiting for the Hield-Okogie matchup, but it was what we needed, and Buddy gave us the Harden shuffle step-back 3 with Okogie challenging to the fingertips. It didn't seem like any of this was going to matter as Naz Reid attacks from the free throw line and gets an easy finger roll layup but promptly blows it. To make matters worse, in transition, while he thinks Bjelica is his man, that's not how it works on the break. His positioning means he must guard Harrison Barnes. Way too late to recover, the Kings get 2 more points with nary a second ticking off the clock. This one had to really hurt if you're a Wolves fan. This is Brad Stevens' play called Winner, where you skip the pass all the way to the weak side post, at the same time you're cross-screening for Hield, who lets it fly, can hit, but gets fouled. Can you hear me shaking my head? Coach Ryan Saunders started getting a little worried, and he had to put both Wiggins and Towns back in the game hurriedly. 3 made free throws later, we get a full court press in an effort to speed up the game and get the ball back quicker. When no steal happens, they have to foul. I'm always curious after we know the outcome if we can see any evidence in the face that a player would miss this clutch free throw. What do you think? Anything telling in the eyes or body language that would indicate he would miss not just the first, but the second shot as well, leaving the door cracked open just a tiny bit. Needing 3 balls in a hurry, the Kings turn to their new 6th man, Buddy, for some guidance, and he just elevates over Napier and drops this bomb through the net to cut the lead to 3 points. Needing a score to ensure the victory, the Wolves opt to take a timeout and set up a play, which is designed to run the clock down, not a bad idea considering they still had the lead, and Wiggins forces Bjelica to guard him, pirouetting into a fadeaway jumper. Not a bad shot, but he can't hit it. Up 3 with under 8 seconds left, the Kings do the wise thing by fouling lest risk giving up a 3-ball. However, when you foul, you need to be prepared for everything, and in a play that almost never works, Fox fires the ball off the front of the rim. Vonleh and Jang try to pinch Dedmon, but don't box out the shooter. This didn't make a ton of sense to me, but again, the odds the ball would bounce right back to Fox were astronomical. So clearly, the basketball gods were on the Kings' side. There's plenty of time for a good play to win, but just check the Timberwolves' body language. Doesn't look like they're in any mood to pull this thing out, and the play they ran wasn't completely awesome. Not sure if Napier wanted to pin down for Covington first, then cross-screen for Cat, but Rocco abandons that pretty fast. Of course, they switch this cross-screen, but it catches Bazemore on the complete wrong side of Towns. Wiggins misses the backdoor pass that would have gotten him a point-blank shot at the rim, and ultimately almost throws it away, leaving Cat with a heavily challenged 17-footer that doesn't get close. Despite the jolt of their improbable missed free throw play working, the Kings still found themselves down 3 with under 3 to go. They run a nice set where Bjelica slips the ball screen. Since the Wolves wanted to switch the pick and roll, Napier leaves the ball, Cat is late getting to it, and the secret sauce is the quick pin down Bjelica sets for Hield. Okogie recognizes the switch, but doesn't see the ball till it's too late, and this, my friends, is a tie game. With the baseline drive, Okogie has to cover the corner. Check how he turns his back on the ball to recover. I actually like this, as sometimes it's the fastest way to get back in position. What I don't like, however, is how he leaves Buddy to touch Fox, but it doesn't hurt them, and the defense gets into good position as the shot clock is winding down. But that's when one of my favorite players, Bogdan Bogdanovic, uncorks this pull-up long two as Napier doesn't get a hand up. Wiggins kept up his stellar play as they again attack Bjelica in the pick and roll, and there is virtually no opposition as Wiggins gets the finger roll to tie the game. Covington makes a huge mistake to put both hands on Bjelica's back and give him a little shove. There was no reason to do this, easy foul call, and gifted the Kings 2 points. Okogie again struggles with finishing at the rim after grabbing Wiggins' wild miss, but ultimately coaxes the foul out of the refs. Again, any evidence in his eyes that he was going to choke not one, but 2 free throws that would have tied the game. And it was the Wolves' turn to get the offensive rebound off an unintentionally missed free throw, but Okogie needs to get in the gym and work on that finishing. Dedmon comes up with a loose ball, somehow stays in bounds, and calls timeout. The Wolves seem willing to just play defense despite the shot clock and game clock being only 3.5 seconds apart. With the timeout they had, there would be enough time after a stop to get a shot to tie or win the game. Problem is, they end up fouling anyway, and while they did review it, it's an obvious blocking foul, but also a reach-in foul by Napier too. Refs don't often call fouls in these situations, but there was no denying it. Yet Fox only hits 1 free throw, setting up the final possession. It was sloppy on the weak side as the pin down for Wiggins gets messed up. Towns doesn't set a great screen at the elbow, and Wiggins was left turning over his right shoulder on the run with Bogdan in his jersey. A word to the wise, if you want to get your shooter open for a 3, have him screen off the ball first. Guess who had a better shot at this if the angle and positioning was better? That's right, and remember, he's a literal sharpshooter with a 4-inch height advantage over his defender. So that is how a team overcame one of the biggest late-game deficits the NBA has ever seen, and a testament to the perseverance of Luke Walton's club, and perhaps a catapult to get them playing closer to their potential. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to B-Ball Breakdown so you can get alerted right away when we drop a new video. This season will be filled with incredible content, so don't miss it. You in?